we get on our ship and the ship will move for Nice, not Nice, the Pisa and Lucca. That's our next, that is our tomorrow's tour. There is this ship. This is 25th of May. We are heading towards Pisa and Lucca, and we will see the Leaning Tower, the world's wonder, seventh wonder or so. This is one ship going towards Rome. And there is another ship somewhere here. And find it. There it is. What company is that? I can't figure out. But there is a little mountain. And there is another ship there. Maybe 5:45 or so in the morning. And there's another guy going to get the These are Prakash and Bob. Both my lovely brothers. Hello Prakash. Hello Prakash.
कितना टाइम लिखा हुआ है लेफ्ट साइड के टॉप पे?
मेरे को दिखता नहीं है.
क्या बाजूला? बैटरी टाइम उसकी
1.38 minutes.
1.38 है. 118 बना लीजिए.
138 minutes.
138 मिलता है. हाँ 138 मिलता है. 2 तासाची बॅटरी 144.
This is our ship, and that is whatever comes and gets stirred because of the ship down there. And it looks so green and beautiful.
Its history goes back originally, the first time that there was any type of a city plan was that of the Roman city, a small Roman city. Now as you walk through Lucca, you will not see any Roman architecture except for the Roman amphitheater. And that's also very unique. You'll see when you get to the Roman amphitheater. What you will see as you walk through this very narrow streets of Lucca is a city that developed after the 11th century. So that's the period known as the late to Middle Age. Although it was important even before then, but what remains of the historical center is that of the city developing after the 11th century, the time when these cities, Florence, Lucca, Pisa, Siena, Arezzo, and all their territories became city-states. And many of them were merchant cities. Pisa was a port city. Pisa had the port. Lucca was a merchant city. Florence was a merchant city. And Lucca became very important in the production of something, a textile that was very important back then, and that was silk. And that's where a lot of the money came from during those centuries, was in the silk industry. and producing the silk here, of course importing the raw material because Lucca didn't have the mulberry trees for the worm, so they imported the raw material, wove the silk here, sold it all over the medieval European markets, establishing compagnie in England, Belgium, wherever there was an important European market, the Lucchesi were there. So this brought in a lot of money, the city expanded. It expanded, of course, the Roman walls, which were the first walls that were built to defend the city, were no longer, parts of it were existing, but of course they were no longer adequate. So in the late Middle Ages, Lucca needed another type of defense wall. That was the medieval wall, the 12th, 13th century walls. And they defended the city for about 200 years, 300 years, until the end of the 15th century, 16th century. When the city had continued to grow and expand, it expanded outside its medieval walls, so a new type of defense structure was needed. And for two reasons mostly. One, to defend Lucca from the Florentines. The second, probably more important reason, because of the new type of cannons that were being developed. Because up to then, the medieval walls had been adequate, even though they were very narrow and just one stone on top of the other, but they would fight with the crossbow. But once the cannons became more developed, this new type of structure was needed, such as this. And this is the third ring of walls that we're standing on. I mentioned before, it's a beautiful public park today, traffic-free, only pedestrians and bicycles are allowed here. But this is it wasn't as pretty when it was first built, of course. You didn't see all these trees that are here. These trees were planted in the 19th century when this was established as a public park. But it defended Lucca from the Florentines. It took over 150 years to build. They began building the structure in 1525. About 1650, they were completed. And in some cases, some areas, you can actually see the medieval walls, where the medieval walls were needed. They were incorporated into this new structure. They're very, very solid. They're about 30 meters at the base. They're all landfill. The exterior is covered by bricks that were locally produced. So it was a very big project that you can see by the time that it took to complete it, almost 150 years. Fortunately, it helped to keep the Florentines out, because when the Florentines saw what Lucca was building, they said, well, let's leave Lucca alone. So Lucca was left alone as a self-ruling city-state until 1799. So for many centuries, it's actually one of the oldest little republics in the country. And then the French took over, and then after the Austrians, finally the unification of Italy became a country. Because before the unification of Italy was a lot of different countries, speaking their own dialects, their own cultures. It wasn't until that. Okay, today, as I said, it's a public park.
हे गावाचं नाव आहे लुका. Quando vado in favela.
हाथ ला हाँ स्वच्छ है सार्वजनिक स्वच्छतेची नाहीच आपलं आपलं घर स्वच्छ करायला नको तेही काही लोक करतात ते म्हणजे मेन रोडच आहेत जवळजवळ स्वच्छ आहे हाँ
Allora, state postando
Das Klima ist ja eigentlich so.
दुसरी ट्रिप आली शाळेची वगैरे
Kann es sein, dass ich mich an den Platz noch erinnere?
Ja.
Voll das Déjà-vu.
Döner.
Döner. Ja, wenn ich Döner.